started playing guitar because my father played guitar, and I wanted to be better than him.
なぜならお父さんもギターを弾いていて、自分のお父さんより上手くなりたかったからなんです。
And my dad also was a vintage guitar dealer, and he also, had a feel. He also played in a band as well.
お父さん、ヴィンテージギターのディーラーでもありまして、またご自身もバンドでプレーされていたそうです。
So when I started playing, I initially learned. I'm not just saying this. I actually my very first guitar that I ever had access to that was my own was a very old, not very expensive Yamaha classical guitar. I swear to God, I'm not just saying that for the sake of this conversation.
さて、嘘じゃないんで、ちょっと嘘っぽいんですけれども、嘘じゃないんですということなんですが、一番初めにギターを始めたとき弾いたギターはとても古い、そして高級ではないんですが、ヤマハのギターでした。
So, I started, playing classical music, and I started playing, take the tape off. Basically, I started playing classical music that was, I started playing that. I started playing like that when I was a kid, like when I was 4, and not that well, but I did start with that. And then I heard about 3 or 4 years later, I heard the blues, and I actually heard Eric Clapton's version of "Further On Up the Road." And it's, when you're a kid, you're playing music. And you're like, cool. And you're forced to put your guitar like this because that's what they tell you have to do. And you have to play like this, and you can't move, and you're reading off the paper. Did you get all that? Okay.
で最初は今弾いてくださったようなクラシックから弾き始めて、これをもう4歳の時に、こんな上手いとは言わないですけど弾いていました。で3年4年ぐらい経った後エリック・クラプトンを聴き始めたんですね。で子供としてはアルペジオを弾いてて、例えばちゃんとしたポジションでですね、パッとシャキッとして楽譜を読みながらっていうのは。
So, when you kind of like told by your guitar teacher, which I was a very nice man, that this is how it's supposed to be for the rest of your life. You and the guitar. And I was like, and then I heard Eric Clapton do "Further On Up the Road," and it sounded like. I was like, wait a minute, this is much better than what I'm doing.
だって先生に言われてこうやってシャキッと弾かなきゃいけなくて、もう一生こういう風に弾いてくださいなんて言われるとちょっとと思うわけですね。それでクラプトンを聴いてみたらこうやってダラッとした感じで今みたいにかっこよく聴いてたのを聞いて、いやちょっと待てよ、俺はこれの方が上手いんじゃないかと思ったわけです。
And that's when I discovered the blues. And that's basically what turned me to a different path. And I just thought that this kind of stuff was a lot hipper than what I was doing. I'd be like,
それがブルースとの出会いで、そして今まで弾いてたように自分に合ってると思ったんですね。なので、それからこういう今弾いてくださっているようなブルースを弾き始めました。
And then I got electric guitar.
そしてエレキギターを手にする時が来ました。
And then I got electric guitar and I started hearing stuff like. I mean, like, so I was like hearing all this stuff, and and then my father, who is an electric player as well, he introduced me to this song. You know that one, you guys know well, right?
そしてエレキギターでさっきほど弾いてくださったみたいなのを弾き始めて、そしたらお父さんがまたエレキギタープレイヤーだったんですが、ご存知の皆さん、この曲を教えてくれました。
And one of the first rock records I've actually heard was Deep Purple, Made in Japan.
そして一番最初に聴いたロックの CD というのが Deep Purple, Made in Japan。
For the only reason that my father, in 1972, went to see Deep Purple play at Buffalo State College in Buffalo, New York. You have no idea where that is. Either do I.
で、その CD を聴いた理由っていうのは、お父さんが1972年、ディープパープルのバファローというニューヨークの場所のライブに行ったからなんです。
And he would brag that the record that became Made in Japan was exactly the same setlist that he heard in his very first concert.
それでお父さんがその Made in Japan の CD っていうのは、彼自身が行ったバファローでもコンサートと全く同じだよということで CD を手に入れたわけです。
So he would, all of a sudden, I was listening to acoustic blues. I was listening to Eric Clapton and electric blues, kind of like circa, John Mayall Blues Breakers and Cream. And then I was listening to like heavier rock like Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple.
で、それまでエリック・クラプトンとかジョン・メイヨール、ブルース・ベイカーズとか聴いてたんですが、急にそこからロックを聴くことになったんですね。レッド・ゼベリンとかですね。
And all of a sudden, all these styles, including the classical music, started to come together. And I never made them, I don't know if you can translate this, mutually exclusive. I never said, well, I'm only going to play the classical music or the blues or the rock or the jazz or whatever. I just kind of combined it all into one thing.
そしてその瞬間にクラシックも含めて自分に今まで聴いてきたものが全部一体になったんです。それで思ったのは、じゃあブルースだけ俺は弾くんだとか、ロックだけ、ジャズとか、クラシックだけとか、そういうふうに思うのは全部やめて、全てを取り込もうと思ったんです。
So that's kind of like how I got started, and that's how I kind of was very much influenced by so many different styles. So if you hear my records today, people say, Joe, and I said, yes, that is my name. And why are your styles so varying in degrees of what musical style? I said, well, because I don't really have one particular genre that I like to kind of be in. I like to kind of float in between.
そしてこうやっていろんなスタイルから影響を受けたのが今の自分なんですが、最近例えばなんでジョーそんなたくさんいろんなスタイルのギターを弾くんだっていうふうに聞かれるときは、いやなぜなら自分は特にこのジャンルが好きとか言うんじゃなくて、いろんなジャンルの合間の中で自分の中の音楽を作ってるからなんだよと答えています。